Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Rational Investor. It's a bit of a strange hour for me because the clock moved this weekend. So there was a little bit of confusion about when we would start this daily brief. But seems we're live and Chris is driving the bus. So thank you, Chris. And this is a bit of a special daily brief because instead of me and Brian talking about the news and all that, we're going to jump right in, and we have a special guest. We have Maarten Blumas with us, and Maarten is the CEO, if I'm correct, about from Get Protocol. And I will be using this opportunity to discuss the protocol with Maarten. Maybe we can come up with some questions. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat as well. And full disclosure, I do have a position in Get, and TY has as well since last week. Having said that, when we look at the charts now, the price is 20% down from where we bought, I believe. So it's a long-term position that we established. Hey Maarten, thanks for taking the time to be here with us.
Hi, Stuart. Thanks for having me.
Is it? Can you maybe tell a little bit about yourself and about your history, because you don't have the typical crypto background history, I feel like.
Well, I don't know what a typical crypto background would be,
Uh,
but
not a 16-year-old with some crypto.
yeah, yeah. No. So I'm a 41-year-old, used to be corporate lawyer, and I actually had a position as legal counsel with the Dutch Central Bank. And that is where I sort of learned how money works, and I was baffled. And that also, basically made sure that I have a very, very healthy interest in everything crypto. I started with Bitcoin and then, of course, Ethereum. And then 6 years ago, we started Get Protocol, but basically we did so because we thought, hey, well, let's build something on this Ethereum blockchain and see if it works. And it just, got out of control.
It got out of control. And then do you just, because as a Rational Investor, we're doing a lot of investing and trading, are you still actively trading your portfolio?
No, I'm not. I did so, but it just took up too much of headspace. So I quit it. But no. I did very well, so that was very nice. It gave me a lot, but now it's full focus on Get Protocol and the project.
Yeah, and I guess we're in a perfect market state as well to just be building and not watching it price just too much.
Absolutely, yeah. But I still own some validators on ETH, which I'm very bullish about. And I own Get, of course, which is my founder's position, which I got during the ICO. But that's all.
Okay. That's at least a simple overview of your watch list every day to check prices if you would be interested.
Exactly.
And so Get, what is Get Protocol about, and what are you guys trying to solve?
So basically what we're trying to do is onboard the next billion users to Web3, but in a way that actually makes sense in our view.
Okay.
So I can give you a run through to the presentation, or
perfect.
Chat, whatever you want. Yeah,
we can jump into presentation. Then
cool.
hop over to your screen.
Share my screen. Let me know if it works or not.
Yep, here we go.
Everybody seeing it okay? Yeah? All right.
Yep.
So Get Protocol, again, what we try to achieve here is being the NFT ticket infrastructure for the masses. And that's a loaded term because normal people do not interact with crypto very easily. So my aunt is not able to buy a ticket for any event using MetaMask, and it's very likely she will never be. So that's basically the big problem we're trying to solve. So again, we want to onboard the next billion Web3 users. The only way to do that is to provide a better alternative than what's already in the market. We believe we are round and about here at this moment. So what we need to do, the big challenge right now, is to onboard this early majority. And what is this early majority doing right now? They are engaging with culture. So we perceive ourselves to be basically, I'll do it one more smaller, this is better. We perceive ourselves to be the bridge between normal usage of the internet and the Web3 angle here. 50% of all Earthlings will buy an access ticket next year. This also includes transport, but you can see that if we succeed in providing a better alternative and extending the life cycle of a ticket through culture, we can onboard a lot of new people to Web3, and all the while disrupt the ticketing industry, which is littered with problems, and is basically controlled by a few very big players. So we're also very much into the game of disrupting that.
And 6 years ago, Web3 wasn't really an existing word, I think, when you guys started with Get Protocol. But did the vision of the project change, or is it always been the same? We want to onboard everyone to buy their tickets through the Get Protocol.
No, it changed. Well, yeah, it changed a lot. I would say it matured a lot. Is a better wording for it, because when we started, we had, which is quite crazy in itself, we had zero knowledge of the events industry. So we weren't even able to pinpoint the exact problems in the industry. We just thought it would be a nice thing to build because from a distance, it looks so easy, right? You just distribute some QR codes. It's a sort of a digital native product. So yeah, blockchain made a lot of sense. There are some problems there, especially with scalping and fraud, which we could solve right off the bat. So it started with solving fraud and scalping as a joke. But once we really got into it, it became so much more. And I would say that from, let's say, the end of 2017, the goal is what it is, and which basically has become this worldwide open source data standard for anything access registered on chain.
Okay.
And we focus on concert tickets right now because yeah, that's basically where we started. And also the order in which we started this project is very wrong, because we were absolutely the solution looking for a problem instead of the other way around. But hey, here we are. That's what we do.
Yeah. And then who is your big competitor?
Honestly, I don't think we have a big competitor, because we had to. So in the ticketing business, when we started, basically what they are doing is they are issuing bearer instruments stored in the central database. So basically they are issuing a lot of QR codes on a PDF file and emailing it to people, which a lot of people think is a digital ticket, but has absolutely nothing to do with a digital ticket. So what we needed to do is basically on the Web2 front, we needed to truly digitize tickets. And then on the Web3 front, we needed to make it very easy for people to interact with basically the rest of the product that is more focused on Web3. So that made the use case actually quite hard to achieve. That's why we're building for 6 years now. And for the first time, I can truly say, well, I think like the foundation for all the products, which I'll talk about a little later on, a little more, is actually laid and battle tested, and we are now in a position that we can really radically scale. That's where we are right now. But we had to have this simultaneous strategy, which wasn't ideal to say. So the fact, the thing is with engaging with culture, what we believe is that creators will have a more mutualistic relationship with their fans, and mutualistic is basically a word from nature. So I always picture this big shark with those little fish underneath it. So the shark protects the little fish, and the little fish cleans the skin of the shark. So that's basically the way we envision it. What we try to achieve there is basically instead of Justin Bieber catering to a very broad audience to sell more detergent, we want to give creators the tools to make high quality culture, or what they think is high quality culture, and cater to a more narrow audience, but still be able to keep afloat and make beautiful things. The other thing is we need to make sure that everybody can interact with Web3, with the collectibles, or with the event financing without there being too much friction of user interface and stuff like that. And the other thing, and this is also quite new, is the more we learn, the more new business models turn up. So one thing we do, which we also didn't know, but basically the reason everybody is still using Ticketmaster is because they are sort of the Iron Bank of the events industry. So a promoter, which is the party that takes the financial risk of an event, always has a liquidity problem, because he needs to lock the date for the event, for the venue, which costs money. He needs to do the down payments for all the artists, which costs money. He needs to buy all the stuff for the drinks and whatever. All of that costs money, and you don't get any money in. So basically what Live Nation does is provide everybody loans who is willing to take this insane risk of organizing an event. And what we do is we use all the to be sold tickets, which are all NFTs in our protocol, and we utilize it as programmable collateral to tap into the DeFi ecosystem, which is one of the business models that's really sort of organically grew, because we grew and then DeFi came and we could just tap it into each other, right? So the interoperability here is going to help us win this race, because there is so much going on there, which Ticketmaster or Eventum or AEG have no idea about, and we think that by disrupting the way events are financed is a very good angle to disrupt the entire business.
Yeah, so basically that means, like, if I wanted to give a concert in my backyard with Justin Bieber, I would need to put up 100 million of my own funds before I'm even able to do so, probably. And then usually a Ticketmaster would just lend me those funds.
Exactly.
And the deal is that they do the ticketing, something like that, I guess.
And they do the ticketing for a crazy transaction fee. That's one of the main reasons why those transaction fees are absolutely ridiculous. And the other thing is that if you go to the Live Nation, like the numbers, I think they almost have 7 billion in debt right now. So them pre-financing all those events is a liability on their asset sheet, on their balance sheet, sorry. And in our case, it's not, because basically what we do is we just make the market for the promoter. So that's we think is actually the silver bullet of our
that's
product.
Interesting, because if you would have a ticket of €100, how much would go to Ticketmaster in terms of fees?
It usually depends, but it's quite safe to say that it would be north of 10% and probably between 10 and 25%.
Okay, and with your product, with Get Protocol?
We
we dive into that later. What
no,
slice you
no
have.
worries. Depends on the product you use. If you only use our Web3 infrastructure, then it's 2 cents per NFT. And then if you have extra functionalities you use from us, then there's an uptick for that. If you use our entire front end, back end, and native app, it's 3% of the order value denominated in our own token.
Okay. That's cool. So as an artist, you can then probably lower your price and keep more to yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and the more important thing is you can extend the utility of a ticket, right? So normally it's just sort of a necessary evil to get into the event, and we see it as basically as a sort of a membership medal of that specific artist, venue, or promoter. So you can prolong the life cycle of a ticket by quite a lot, and add up new business models.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
So these are some of the events we do. I think it's safe to say we do events like this every week, every other week. So this is the Ziggo Dome, which is very familiar for you, of course, Stuart, but maybe it's not for the rest. I think it's safe to say it's one of the best venues in Holland. So all the big artists, they definitely play here. They asked us to become preferred supplier. Why? Because we solve fraud and scalping. So basically we are way further with our product, but now the first problems we solve are being picked up by the mainstream industry, so to say.
And what kind of fraud is that? Is it like selling a ticket that you don't own on a second marketplace or something?
Yeah. So what you can do with the normal situation is you could just buy one ticket and sell it off like 1,000 times, and only the first person can enter. And this is a huge problem, especially in the US. I think I read in a report somewhere that 10% of all ticket buyers had a experience with fraud. So that use case alone would justify us building all this. But the other thing is we can monetize the secondary market for our clients in a transparent and fair way. So they can just set a price bandwidth of the tickets. So for example, a ticket cannot cost more than 120% of the face value and not less than 80. And we can basically dictate that behavior through blockchain.
Yeah, to prevent that someone buys them all up and sells them at a premium of 1,000%. Yeah, okay.
Exactly. And you gotta understand that the secondary ticket market alone has a total addressable market of around 16 billion this year. And 20 to 30% of all tickets, that is an estimate because it's very hard to measure, but 20 to 30% of all tickets wind up on the secondary market. So those two problems we addressed in the beginning justify us being here, and the rest is just basically for the mainstream industry to find out in the future. But one thing sorry.
No, yeah, because the artist doesn't get anything, right? If a ticket gets sold on the secondary market.
No, they don't. And oftentimes, like the arbitrageurs, they make more money off a event than the promoters do. So that's why I refer to, like, promoters are very brave people. The amount of risk they take is borderline insanity, if you ask me. But they still do it because they just like having these crowds and everything. So we really need to help them, and that's something we set to do. So the most important thing, and why I included this one in the presentation, is so all of these people have a crypto wallet. All of these people interacted with crypto, and And I think it's safe to say that around 90% of them have no idea. So that's how we envision true adoption of the protocol.
Okay.
All right. So I already touched on this a little bit earlier. We needed to basically build the whole spectrum, because if you just make a protocol, say it's superior, and expect people to interact with Web3 and buy tickets, you're not going to make it. Many have tried and failed. I think in the entire lifespan of our project, we've seen around 60 projects come and go, all with different strategies. And we believe there's no way but the long way. So what we had to do is we had to build our own ticketing company, because we need to showcase that we can add value, make our clients more money. And also we had a shit ton to learn about the events industry. So the best way to do it is by just doing it yourself. So this is Guts Tickets. This is a Dutch ticketing company, or it's predominantly active in the Dutch market, which is a very saturated market. There are over 400 ticketing companies here. And we use it to build new functionalities, learn about it, reiterate, and basically showcase what NFT tickets can do for everybody. And then we have this second layer, which is our software as a service product. It's a different entity as well. And here we basically license our software. So this is front end, back end.
A white label solution.
Exactly, a white label solution. Currently, 19 ticketing companies all over the world are using this. It's going to be 26 very soon. So this has a lot of traction right now. And we started this during the pandemic. So in August 2020, we started with this. But becoming a data standard with these two levels will not cut it, because there is a huge amount of volume that is being sold by the entrenched parties, right? So Ticketmaster, Eventim, AEG. And what we do with the digital twin is basically give them a, let's say, blockchain plugin out of the box. We do that with our digital twin. So there we basically provide a alternative way of distributing those digital rights to access next to their old PDF QR code method. And usually takes a junior developer around in about 2-3 days to integrate the system, to integrate the protocol into an existing legacy system. There's zero operational risk, and it's very cheap.
But how does that work then? If I have a ticket and you have a digital twin?
Yeah, so for gaining the access, it's up to the ticketing company basically. So if they validate our NFTs, then that is the right to access. If they validate their own PDF, that is the right to access. So that's basically up to them. What we want to do is provide them with a way to distribute NFTs at a ridiculous scale right off the bat without any large investment. And once they see that it adds value to their current business, they can just choose not to send the emails. So we think that's a very elegant way of persuading the entrenched players to use the protocol.
And would you like them to move up a layer again to get your white paper or white label solution?
No, the digital twin is the end game. So for now, it's a digital twin. So basically, the source of truth is still the central database of the entrenched players. What we envision, and will take, I think, maybe 5 to 10 years, is that the NFT itself will be the source of truth. So our end game is definitely the bottom layer. Everything above that. So also with Guts, we don't focus on doing as much volume as we can. We just focus on showcasing. With the white label solution, it's a bit of a different story, because We make a lot of money there, and that's something we like keep doing. But realistically, persuading a entrenched player to write off their legacy system and depend on a third-party white label solution is not very likely. So it's not an ambition for us to basically say to Ticketmaster, "Hey, throw away your legacy system and try ours." It's not very likely that they are going to do that.
No, I guess this is the smarter way to do so. Agree. Yeah.
Yeah, we hope so. You never know. So this is basically the Scala of our products. We have a Explorer where you can basically see all the NFT tickets in real time. So we're round and about almost at the 2.8 million mark. And the other thing is, which is good to emphasize, is we very much focused on building and not in doing a lot of crypto marketing, because it's insanely expensive and it usually doesn't really work. So you get this short-term pump of the token, but then there's really nothing making sure that it doesn't drop down again. So we really focused on building and having all of the products in this pyramid set in place, and then we can scale. And we believe that time is now. Especially the digital twin is also getting a lot of traction because of Ticketmaster also having a product that sort of resembles it, and we are the only game in town to do it at a scale.
And so about the marketing, real quick, as you say, well, we don't do a lot of marketing. I noticed that when I wanted to take a position into Get, I ended up doing it through Uniswap, which is my preferred way because I do like my ledger and to be decentralized. But for example, Get is not listed on one of the other major exchanges, for example, a Kraken or a Binance, or is that because of the costs and the volume requirements, for example?
Well, it's exactly because of that. So, it depends on where we are in the cycle, but usually, I think it would be less right now. But in the past, they asked us like these crazy amounts to get listed, and I know I would sort of get my money out. But once you're listed, you have these volume requirements. So you have these market makers you need to use. Which are insanely expensive as well. And then the other thing is they have you by the balls if you are listed, because they can also delist you. And I don't think that's good for the project. And if there is no like sure footing of a project, so this is one of the things I don't understand in the crypto market. Like if there's no usage of the protocol or the token or whatever, then the price discovery is based solely on speculation. And I personally always deemed it to be too great of a risk to get listed at a big central exchange, because basically they can toy with you whatever they want. So we rather do it on our own merits. And yes, that is bad for liquidity, of course. But that's why we, especially within the team, we just love DeFi, because DeFi gave us the possibility to have this in our own hands. We also did this Olympus Pro campaign, so we own a lot of our own liquidity, which is vital to basically our clients using the Get.
Okay. Yeah, and it also makes sense, I guess, because a lot of projects, their customer is the one who's trading the token or buying the token. And in the case of your product, it's more like that you're trying, that it is more business to business, where your customers come from. And they are probably not on Binance. The ones visiting the events are. Okay.
Yeah.
So just have to grow big enough so that they come to you. That's That's a plan.
Yeah. That's exactly the plan. So I also have a short part on the tokenomics, if you're interested.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. So basically, Get is the fuel for running our ticketing engine. That's the way you should perceive it. So for a consumer, there is very little need, or actually at this moment, no need to acquire Get. So we want our clients, so this could be the integrators, which is the name we use for users of the digital twin, or the SaaS clients. They need to have Get in order for them to issue NFT tickets. So this is the V2. This is operational right now. Basically, what happens is you have this events contract that collects all the Get from the individual tickets. So every ticket is loaded with a certain amount of Get, and every interaction with that ticket requires a percentage of the total amount of Get on that ticket. And that Get is collected by an events contract, which is depicted here as the blue thing. And basically what it does is it divides the collected Gets from the event. 3% goes to our Get treasury. So this is 3% of the order value denominated in Get of every ticket. And then what we do is, and we just started with that, which is not good for the price, as you told in the beginning. We sell that to the open market to cover the operating costs. And then the other revenue stream is for the foundation, and it basically collects 2 cents denominated in Get again per digital twin, and this goes to the DAO treasury.
Okay,
which is quite full.
So if I wanted to organize my Justin Bieber backyard party, I probably need a lot of Get. Do I need to buy those on open market then?
Yeah, there are. Well, you can bring your own. So everything you've bought on the open market throughout the years, and you can load up your wallet with that Get and then run the event. But truth of the matter is, a lot of our clients are not that crypto savvy, and that's putting it mildly. So basically, what we have is this integrated dashboard for our clients. And what they can do, we have a circle implementation. They can just market buy it with a credit card.
Okay, yeah, because they're not that tech savvy, indeed. And from what I saw on CoinMarketCap, there's about 22.9 million of Get tokens.
Yeah,
a little bit more than the Bitcoin, and the current market cap of the project. What I saw was about 30 million. You're saying, well, Get is the fuel of all the transactions on chain, basically. A DAO is being formed. And I see also Brian having the same question. So why does the Get token has intrinsic value? For example, like Ethereum, I never really bought into Ethereum because I felt like the protocol would work as good on $10 as that when Ethereum would be $1,000. Is that the case for Get as well?
Yeah, that's absolutely the case for Get. I think it's very similar. So the intrinsic value of Get is basically integrators or white labels buying it in order to process their events. That's the true intrinsic value. But on the other end, we need to come up with a mechanism that they aren't exposed to the volatility of the token, because they are not going to run a business which is insanely riskful as it is, and then top it up with a very volatile token. So what we do is we lock the token price at the moment of topping up their dashboard.
Okay.
So that way, if they don't wish to be involved in the whole open market in Get, they don't have to. They can just top up their dashboard right before the event, process the event, and do it again the next time. What we hope is that they will notice that the more we use get, this is to be released, which I will come to in a minute. But what we hope to sort of motivate them is to buy get when it's cheap, and then put it on just a different wallet and only top up when they need to, because they will see that the amount of get they need for their events will differ. So that's basically why we want to sort of motivate them or incentivize them to become a get holder as well. We're seeing this happen with some of our white labels already, so that's working out. But to answer your question, the intrinsic value here is usage, and then of course, if we grow faster, then so if we don't plateau, then it's very likely that the price will go up. But the same thing goes for what you just said about the Ethereum. For the working of the protocol, it doesn't matter what the price is.
Okay. Yeah, and Brian again has the same question as me. Like, if get would be a $20 a token, would it then be harder for a promoter to or an event organizer to do it through get?
No.
Or would it make a difference because it's always a percentage?
Exactly. It's always a percentage denominated in get. So it's always 3% of the order value, and then at a lock price of the time of your topping up the dashboard.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So this is what we have right now. This is what we're having in a very short term. So the staking contracts are now up for audit. We think this is very nice because I just told you this Neanderthal way of covering our operating costs, which is basically just dumping get on the open market, which is of course not a very good thing. So we introduced a staking vault, and in terms of smart contract risk, we forked a Maple contract, which are very, very good. But still, of course, we need to audit it. So again, you have this events contract that is collecting all the get, and can split it into revenue streams. So this is wrong. This is actually 2%. So instead of 3%, 2% of the cost go to the get treasury again. But also 1% will go to the staking vault, and the half of the digital twin revenue will also go to the staking vault. So the staking vault is nothing more than just a amount of get that can only grow. So there is no way of extracting get from the staking vault of the protocol, and you get this LP token of the staking vault. So let's say there's 100 get at the start. Everybody gets 1 X get, which is the LP token. Then as long as we sell tickets, the amount of get, so this 100 get, will keep rising with 1% of all white label revenue, some transaction cost, and half of all the digital twin revenue. So after a while, it will become 150 get, for example, and then your X get will still give you the right to the same percentage of the staking vault at the time you've entered.
And so why did you guys choose for this option compared to, for example, burning a percentage of all get on every transaction?
So we did burning in the past. It limits your flexibility is one thing, and the other thing is it's not good for how we tests. Also, with a comparable how we test in the Netherlands. So if we would have continued on that burning path, it could be that we would be deemed sort of a derivative, which gives us all sorts of regulatory hassle.
Legal challenges and stuff too.
Yes. Okay.
So you keep the fixed supply of the 22.9 million, and instead of burning them, you just lock them up.
So what we basically do is we lock them up, and people who are willing to lock them up for a certain amount of time, they get a piece of the revenue, which we generate.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. But still, we didn't solve this Neanderthal problem. And this is the next thing I hope before the end of the year we're going to release. So again, we have this a contract collecting all the get. Here's correct. But now instead of and it still gets divided amongst all the different recipients, so the DAO, the staking contract, and the get treasury. But now we've inserted a carbon capture contract, as we call it. Basically, what this does is all the get that is collected for the white label. So this is 2% of all order value of all tickets. So that's quite substantial. What it does, it's all this get that is collected by this by the white label revenue is staked immediately, and in return it gets the staked get, right? And this staked get is the thing we are going to sell to the community. So instead of us just dumping the collected get on the open market, sorry?
Yeah. Instead of dumping the token, you're selling the LP token.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Giving us straight access to USDC. And the other beautiful thing about it is that all get that is deposited in the dashboard, in the integrated dashboard, will be out of circulating supply for at least 12 months. Because you have this event cycle, of course, and then you have the minimum staking period, which is 6 months in our case. So that will
that will basically on the next one. This is one of the ingredients, I guess, that will trigger a supply shock if everything is locked up and no get is dumped anymore. Then there's less. Yeah, so that will drive price up then.
Exactly. And what we also think is, because we sell quite a lot of tickets, so we can offer a very decent API, and because it's, well, you of course have the smart contract risk and the business risk, but we think we are able to give a very decent APY of between 4 and 5% on your get with the staking contract. So it's not the degen percentage everybody is used to, but we're Dutch, so we like to have a very prudent approach on these kinds of things, and so that's why we think XGET gives you a very decent yield, especially in these times, but it also provides you with some governance possibilities within the DAO.
And so when
that's basically
and when this is all in place, I guess you could start marketing the product a lot more aggressively. Because I also see a lot of cool stuff, like if there's a DAO and you can vote on proposals, it would of course be genius that everyone who has a ticket can claim some get that comes from the community pool to onboard 1 million visitors of some kind of event.
And that's also exactly what we try to do. So we think we battle tested everything. We've done a shit ton of events, over 14,000 in the last 6 years. We sold millions of tickets. So we believe now is the time that we can actually, especially in the technical sense, scaling up is quite hard, because there's this Web3 component. But there's also this Web 2 component, and the development operations there is really borderline insanity how complicated that gets. But we think we've solved all that, and now we believe that the time to sort of basically claim our number one position as the NFT ticketing protocol is now. So this also means very large transitions for our organization. So it's focused on marketing now instead of just only developers. Now we need to have more sales and stuff like that. So that's basically where we are right now. Yeah, and also another last thing about the token is it's very aligned, the token incentives. I mean, because the SaaS part of our organization, their only revenue is denominated in Get. So there is a very clear incentive to make sure that the price doesn't drop, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to pay the salaries of our 50 plus team. So that's a very big concern for us. So we will do anything in our power to make sure that we can still pay our team, of course. The Get protocol, well, it goes without saying that they have a very a strong incentive to have a healthy token price. But also for Guts tickets and all the other white labels, they pay for their fees in Get. So I told, so they want to minimize their costs. And the way for them to do so, once they see that the token will gradually increase in value, is to buy more beforehand, and basically also buy the dips, which we believe will give a nice solid foundation for a bottom.
Is that something, because I can see that your customers are maybe not that technical and won't really do it, but do you also maybe then have a sales agent in your company, and that the goal is that someone says like Ticketmaster, well, I want to allocate, I want to do deals with you guys over the next 3 years. Here's at least, I don't know, 5 million. And you guys make sure that there's enough Get for us to
that's exactly what we're doing. So our account managers, it's so apart from them sort of navigating our clients through the whole product, because you can imagine like the dashboard is quite extensive because ticketing is quite hard again. But one of his the OKRs that our account managers have is basically make sure that all of our white labels become traders.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Clear.
Yeah, that was it.
Okay, nice. I like that as an actual use case for a working product that should get its value from its adoption. I also jumped in the Discord of Get, and a lot of OGs seem to be around. Very steady community. And
it's not big, but it's very steady. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's very steady. And so how, of course, it's a bit of an inside question, but how healthy is the company? Like you're saying you have a lot of expenses, I guess, with 50 employees.
Definitely.
There was a big bull run. There was a lot of opportunity to sell Get from the company treasure as well, I guess. Is that something that, like, do we need a new bull run within now and 2 years, or is the company okay if it takes another 5 years?
Well, so the organization is truly very resilient. Like me as a lawyer, I had some experience in that department. So basically, what we have, because I also saw one of the questions. So the top 2 levels of the the apex and the middle level of the pyramid I just showed you are privately owned companies. Then the Get protocol part, so the infrastructure part, is a foundation, and it's also the foundation that issued the tokens and conducted the ICO. Our organization would be profitable if I cut the team in half.
Okay.
And token price would be is not relevant in that respect. So in terms of health, there is zero chance that we will go belly up very soon. But if we want to continue this like very steep growth trajectory, we need external funding. But I'm sort of in the midst of that, or well, not in the midst. I'm basically in the end game there. So I hope before the end of the year we have a very nice announcement in that respect. And also the other thing is like the IP of the infrastructure itself resides with so that's the intellectual property, by the way, resides with the protocol. And the IP of all the rest resides in a top holding company that has zero debt or whatever. So we can always continue, but we would definitely want a lot of external capital right now for basically making us known to the crypto world, because we are very unknown at this moment.
Yeah, we're ranked 678, I see. I know most script kiddies and crypto kiddies, they look at top 100 at least. Is like how important is it for you that Get Protocol becomes a top 100, or is that more like an organic growth and a result of the organic growth that should happen here? Because you can do aggressive marketing, of course, to get it jumping up.
No. Of course we can do that. Although up until now, I didn't deem it very opportune because of the insane high cost. And also, I really want to say, Stuart, like I think I know it's a fact, but people judging projects based on their market cap is absolutely utter nonsense. But still, it's what everybody uses. So yes, I want to be a top 100 coin. Why? I want to be acknowledged for the route that we've took. Right? We did it the long way. We did everything. So we had to build an entire ticketing system, then the entire SaaS organization and the protocol. And I really would love my team to have recognition for all the hard work that they've put into it. So that's one of the reasons I want to have a top 100 coin. And of course, my personal finance wouldn't be damaged by it as well.
And does an artist, for example, also gets a bag of Get when Get is used, or does it stay at the promoter level? Because I can imagine that if you want to be a preferred supplier, it would be really cool if eventually maybe some artists like Snoop Dogg, to name something, would say, well, I only want to come perform if I also get if it gets done through Get Protocol and I get tokens.
That's exactly what we try to do. We believe that the creator economy is upon us. So basically, creators being able to choose themselves how they sell tickets and in what form. And this is already happening. So in Holland, we have a few very big artists that are also our investors from the very, very start. You know who they are. The other ones wouldn't know them. But those are well, you can say household names here in Holland. And what we're seeing right now is we're doing that at a global level. So we just signed Neo or his management that has his own ticketing company right now, Authentics. We do well. I'm in talks with some larger management organization right now. So basically, what we did on the guts level, we now want to do on a more global scale with the white labels. So yes, we definitely want artists to basically demand that their tickets are sold through Get Protocol, and because we have all those levels, we can cater to those needs, right? So if it's Ticketmaster, well, Ticketmaster can integrate with the protocol. If they don't have a ticketing system, they can use our white label. And if they don't want to go to the hassle of the white label, they can use Guts also worldwide. So basically, now we have this full spectrum of functionalities that we can actually offer this.
Yeah, and it's a working project, and so the adoption itself should be the reason that eventually the entire company grows in value.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
very non-crypto in that sense.
Very non-crypto, and definitely the long haul. So it might be even a second cycle that we will need to to see it flourish price-wise. But like you said, and like I said as well, the customers are the companies for now. So not really targeting the end users of the product because they don't even know that they're using something that's being built on Web3. Yeah.
So how long would you think that like this true mainstream adoption will take for crypto products? Like if you get like,
I don't think it will happen within a 5-year period. I think like you refer to that as well. I think 5 to 10 years. That's more realistic. Basically, all the people that are quote unquote old, they need to. There's a little chance that they will start using MetaMask in a few years. So I guess we need to have more young people that are growing up in this space already. I don't think a lot of people that are not using it now and that are a bit older will get converted. How nice the UI UX is, you can see it in all products. Same happened with Terra Luna, of course, that died, but the focus there was on getting people onboarded that have nothing to do with or have no experience with crypto. That's where everyone is looking for, to get adoption from non-crypto people.
Yeah, I agree. So, and that's in that sense we're dead center. So we're usually event goers are younger people, but
they don't really know it, right? That they use Get, so that's a bit of a disadvantage, maybe. That I can
they get what they can do is at the end of the event they can claim a collectible. So an NFT, and then that NFT gives you access to token gated discords of the artist or specific merch shops, stuff like that. And what we're seeing is that the amount of NFTs that are being basically being transferred from our custodial wallet to their non-custodial wallet, that percentage is climbing every week. So in that sense, I'm very hopeful for the future.
Yeah, and I thought there was also a nice distribution of wallets that the top 10 of the projects, they don't hold like 50% of all tokens or anything like that. It's pretty spread out. And
all unvested because the ICO was what is it, 5 years ago. So everybody's unvested. So everybody who wanted to sell could have done so.
Yeah, there's no cliff that of tokens that
no VC cliff, no nothing.
No exactly. And for you guys, you have the running costs that still need to get covered. So until the new model is live, tokens do get converted to dollars on the open market.
Yeah, most probably. What we're thinking in terms of timeline is we are closing our seed round and about now. So usually this will take longer, of course. So I'm hoping before Christmas, all is signed and sealed. And then we with the seed, we are raising enough for the next 18 months.
Okay.
But once we've locked the seed, there is no need for us to sell Get. And the other thing is that like our pipeline, so the team is like 50 people, but although we don't do any marketing, our sales pipeline is really filled to the brim and it's all organic. So we have 7 new ticketing companies waiting for them to get onboarded, but I just don't have the manpower to do it. So yeah. That's basically where we are.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Maarten, for taking the time to come on and to answer these questions and present a little bit about Get. Like I said, I have bought a small position for TOI, so we'll definitely be following along and see how the story continues. And next time I'll visit the concert, which is not too often. I'm a developer. I'm sitting on my attic. But if it happens one day, then I will definitely see if it's supported and driven by Get. So
cool.
Thanks a lot.
No, thanks. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. I pass it on to Brian. I think, Brian, you maybe want to go through some news, or maybe because it's top of the hour, we can call it a day.
Yeah, I mean, I tried so hard to be quiet through that, so I didn't do
well
bad.
done.
I let him get to the end.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
this is an interesting story because there's only, I guess what I see right now, there's only about 16 million out. Did he bail
So
on it?
a total supply of 22.9 million and about
Well, that's
16
good,
million
but so
circulating supply.
is this a POW coin?
It's built in on Ethereum.
So it's a token. Is that how
Yeah.
it works?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it is.
I heard earlier you say that your burn rate's pretty high, and you're raising some money into the end of the year here. What are you selling, like a stake of your private company? Is that what you're selling, like raising capital to pay employees and stuff out of?
Yeah, exactly. It's a straight equity deal of the private part of a company.
And I mean, like what I heard out of the presentation is that the price of get is nothing more than just going to be a function of sort of how jazzed the kids are about your product, and the sad thing in crypto bull markets, of course, is, rising tide lifts all boats. So what ends up happening is your token just simply becomes a sort of it's subject to whatever the tide is. If the tide's rising, great, it goes up. If the tide's falling, it goes down.
And the supply goes down, right, with the locking of the tokens on every transaction.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's an interesting side. So my question would be, ultimately, I think, I think you can look at your story as one of those, right? And like what I heard is that you're not making money yet. So I guess the question ultimately becomes, how do we participate as investors? Because that's what we are as investors here. How do we participate in your story like you're financing people? Like one of the screens that I teach the kids here is I want to be long from where the directors are long. So, or the insiders are long. That's where I want to be long. So the question is, how do I get long your story in and around that area? If is this going to stay a private company?
So you're asking if we are going to take the private part of the organization public?
Well, all I'm saying is I'd like to participate, but I don't think necessarily buying your coin. Like I mean, no offense, but I heard that technically the coin has no intrinsic value. So what that means to me is that it's purely subject to the whims of the market, and that's fine. I mean, that's crypto. That's the way it goes. And if anything, that's probably better. Because, one big thing that Vitalik has said repeatedly is he hates when his price of his Ethereum goes through the roof, because then his supercomputer becomes too expensive and nobody wants to use it. So I kind of empathize that you probably want to keep this get as cheap as possible. So just to finish the thought, the question is as an investor, why would I want to I want to be long what you're long, and how do you make money?
Well, so there are a few things in your remarks that really isn't the case. So one is that the comparison with Vitalik, as much as I would like to, is very inaccurate, because I'm way stupider than him. But on the other hand, also, if the token price rises like through the roof, let's say it's $100, it wouldn't affect the cost of usage of our clients. So that's a very important thing. And the other thing is, with the supply sync we've engineered into the tokenomics. Fact of the matter is that as long as we grow and sell tickets, the token price will rise. So there is intrinsic value in that respect.
Yeah, because supply goes down.
Exactly.
But that yet has to be released, right? That's because for when is that scheduled to be released?
Before the end of the year.
Yeah. So at the moment, you could say there's nothing really driving the price up except for some good FOMO, if that would be a good story now. But with the tokenomics
So
being changed,
where would you see a chart of that usage data?
I think that's so we Explorer. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, and also our community members, they've created a June dashboard, which is quite extensive as well.
So it seems to me that that would be a very important data set to simply follow. Is, you know, how?
Yeah.
What I heard from you here was the more that this is used, the I guess what you're simply saying is there'll be more demand for the actual tokens. I also heard something earlier that kind of bothered me a little bit. Could somebody not come in here and just swallow up a huge chunk of your tokens and then kind of play with the market over time?
Yeah, definitely. That's a risk we have right now, which is actually happening at this moment. So this is basically one of the reasons why a central exchange would be helpful, but only for this. So there's this huge anonymous whale who bought, I think, maybe 610K get tokens during the last bull run.
Yeah,
pushed the price up to $10, and now he's offloading it with other altcoins he bought, which is spooking the market, of course. So
hey, don't discount the Megans of the world. It could be she.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, we have a member called Megan, who's in the chat. But yeah, that's true. But yeah, I guess that's a function of being on the open market, right? But,
right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
just understand, everybody. I mean, I appreciate your story. Story sounds great. Don't get me wrong. As Sjord alluded to, this space still has a lot of growing up to do. I would be interested, if you wanted to, if we're building a relationship here, how could TRI participate in that private equity financing? That's what I'd be very interested in that.
We could set up a call. I could, yeah.
Well, you're a lawyer, so do your lawyer thing.
No, yeah, no, it would actually be ridiculously easy. So basically, what we're trying to do now is, so the round is sort of filled with soft commits, and now we're looking for somebody of that group to lead, basically determine the terms and execute the deal. But
right. If anything, leave this call with you have a community people, like, we're smart investors. And what we would like to do is we would like to get long where the insiders are long. And I trust Sjord. He likes your story, but I just don't know whether buying the token itself is the I got to be careful with the words that I use. But I like I said, I do like the idea of us somehow participating in your company itself, because I think your company could make a lot of money down the road.
I think as well. The funny thing is, Brian, that while talking to VCs, they are saying basically the opposite. They're saying, well, now I have I really don't want that much exposure to the equity. I would rather have more exposure to the token. So it's funny, but honestly, I would be happy to run you through the whole, let's say, investor route. And if you want to participate with a group, you're welcome to do so.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, thank you for your time, sir. Sorry to interrupt, Sjord.
No worries.
Oh, good. Thank you. And I think that's where you can see a bit of a difference between Brian and me, which is great. That's why we do good together, I feel like. That he's more like from the investing and being part of the actual private company, where I'm like, well, I understand how the token works. I understand what's coming up with the tokenomics. Just give me the token, and I'll wait for the next bull run. Sell as lots of tickets as possible, and then it has to drive the price up, because you get that supply shock effect. But that's a totally different angle of investing. But I think both will do pretty well.
Well, that's just it, right? Is that Mr. Benner says that this cycle doesn't bottom till the middle of next year. So the question I would have is, what is the appropriate price to be long these gets? And I'm a little concerned that you're still a little bit early here.
So on the flip side, Ryan, the good thing is that the profit doesn't come from the crypto kits. It's off-chain profits. So it doesn't really matter if we're in a bull or a bear. The tickets will be getting sold. COVID is a risk, I guess, that will put a bit of a brake on the ticket sales, maybe.
Well, and that's just it, right? And, what I'm also worried about, too, and this is just feedback for you, Martin, but I'm sure you've probably heard it 100 times. Ticketmaster is not going to just sit back. Kind of like what we've seen with the way Mr. Kwan got into trouble with the hedge fund industry. Yeah. Right. Ticketmaster is not going to just sit back and let you just eat their lunch. So, if anything, I would say you want to take the Do Kwon example and do the exact opposite. Go to Ticketmaster and become their friends, and
don't yell at them in public, saying they're stupid.
Yeah, don't do that.
I've met Martin, and I don't think he's that kind of guy. I don't see him posting my size is not your size and stuff like that.
Yeah, and actually, but Brian, you are very, very right, because so Ticketmaster tried to acquire us 3 years ago already.
Yeah,
which we declined, and now they have this NFT product for themselves, which is basically the collectible angle.
Yeah.
So they are very aware that this is going to happen, but it's basically for us, it's sort of an it affirms that we are on the right route, and the beauty of it now, but that's specifically for this moment, is they are basically selling our digital twin product for us, because it's the industry standard saying, all right, this is the way we're heading, and we are the only other game in town. So it has multiple sides, but you are definitely 100% right. Ticketmaster is not going to go down lightly, if at all.
Right. And I might even, the one, I don't know, I think Ticketmaster is a U.S. company, isn't it?
Yeah.
So one angle you might approach is to try and maybe even chummy up with the European Union and kind of say, look, Ticketmaster is the American version. We're the European Union version, kind of thing. And you might get an ally in that.
Yeah, could be. Yeah. Well, but truth be told, we're not at the size that we could like have political muscle or stuff like that. So
not yet.
But no, not yet. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
Well, if you got Sjord as a fan, keep in mind Sjord was barking to us about Doe when Doe was still in diapers. So the fact that Doe blew himself up, well, I mean, Sjord couldn't have predicted that. But if Sjord is this interested in you now, that speaks volumes.
Thanks, Ryan.
Good to hear.
So, and it would be fun to maybe check in about in a half a year or something. And
yeah, man, anytime. I would love to spread the evangelic here.
Yeah, we'll keep following it on the sidelines, and I'm pretty sure that this will be.
But we're gonna nanny nibble right now, right, Sjord? We're just gonna nanny nibble, right?
Yeah, that's what we did. Dollar cost average.
There you
don't
go.
Don't put all your eggs in a single basket. Yada yada yada. Our members know the deal. So.
But
right, very cool.
I think you could find a receptive audience if you're looking for sort of private equity money to join your pool. If you wanted to put a very small presentation together, you might find a receptive audience here.
Yeah.
So consider.
Yeah, I'll reach out to you. I'll get the contact from Stuart, and we'll talk some more.
Sure.
Nice.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thanks.
Very cool. Thank you, guys.
I'm going to eat some pancakes. Bye bye.
All right.
And
do you guys want to do a little market update, or shall we leave it at that? It's up to you guys.
Let me stop my screen share.
Chris says, I'm game. All right.
I'm game. I'm pancake hungry.
Right. So you go have a bite to eat. Sjord, thank you very much. Probably butchered your name in front of your peer there.
No,
Sorry about that.
all good. Thank you for.
Was I too much of a dick? I mean, I have a bad habit.
No. It's the fair story, right? And I think that's what I do like about Maarten, and I think that's also the reason that I brought him on is that I met him personal, and I'm always looking for stories that have actual value. Like if you remember, like the first episode about Luna, what I liked was that they had off-chain revenue with chai payments. That's what got me interested in Luna in the first place. The off-chain revenue, because that keeps going if a bull or bear cycle, and that's what I'm seeing the same at Get Protocol now. That get me excited. But you were right that like the tokenomics for me, because I looked in this project 2-3 years ago, just weren't there to invest. It just had no value capture. But I feel like that's changing with the tokenomics that are getting updated. So I thought to bring him on.
The issue that I have with this guy, and unfortunately this is exactly what happens to all small businesses, is that they just literally spend themselves out of business.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm deathly afraid of that with TRI.
Yeah.
And you heard him. You know, he even said that basically he is cash flow negative.
Yeah.
And he is absolutely dependent on raising money to keeping this story going.
Yeah.
That's a dangerous position to be in, considering that we know that there's probably still one more year of shit ahead of us here. So
but he's not dependent on that, right? He needs more ticket sales.
Well, but you heard him. He said if he does this financing deal, then he's got
18 months
money locked up for the next 18 months, which is fine. You know, so that'll take him like mid 2024. Yeah. And my hunch is that kids will be going back to concerts, and we'll have major sporting events, and all that kind of crap will all be back to normal again by then. And if he can build all the relationships that he needs to build right now, well, I think he's got a chance. I think
and they're already going for like 6 years, so there's always the possibility to scale back in cost, and then it will take, instead of 2 years, it will take maybe 6 years, another 6 years.
Yeah. Well, you take the Beamish approach, and it takes 8 years to get the fucking DI up and running, right?
But eventually you gotta work.
Hey, look at I'm 50. I still got a bunch of hair on the top of my head, and not much gray, so I might be doing something right.
Great. Okay. Thank you, guys. And
all right.
Have a great rest of the week.
Pancake land there, Slick. Thank you.
Bye.
Oh, okay. Do we want to do an update? I really don't want to sort of ruin Sjord's awesomeness. Let's see. Oh, you know what I did figure out though, which is kind of cool, is you can trade the micro Bitcoin futures. I think they're only like 10 points a point. So I threw one on just to see what the numbers are. I might actually be sort of doing my updates through that. So, this is the image that I saw on my screen. No, I guess I'm not screen sharing that. So, and I didn't want to be insulting to the gentleman because he sounded like a really nice guy. I have a bad habit of being such a jerk, and people end up hating me. But there was the get, and how ironic, it's on fucking trucks. Oh, Jesus. Uh-oh. I was a little surprised by that, but I guess they really only want to be on DeFi, right? I think that's what we heard from him. I noticed most of these things are DeFi, but how ironic they're on fucking tracks. That made me laugh when I saw that. I don't know. That looks like something different, eh? So the get. Anyway, I almost don't even want to look at it on tracks. It's too painful. Jerks. Anyway, lower highs and lower lows. So I don't really see anything to get too excited about yet here. I tell you, I did like the number of coins outstanding though, but these are tokens, right? And it's on Ethereum. So doesn't that mean by definition then, if the Ethereum price itself goes skyrocketing highward, then the cost to buy these things is going to be really high? Isn't that the case? Especially if you have to do it through DeFi, because then you got to pay the gas fees and stuff. Talk to me, people. Someone? Anyone? Isn't this the trap that everybody got into? I don't want to buy in DeFi because then I got to pay the gas. Well, now, but what happens when we go into the next crazy ass bull market, right? So anyway. Okay, so we got the Fed meeting tomorrow and the day after that. This US dollar index, probably the leader out of all this crap, coming up off its knees. We had some pretty nasty inflation numbers come out of Europe overnight. So as a result, I think that just sort of knocked the wind out of the euro. Let's see. I think the headlines coming out of the AP. Inflation at a new record high, or new record in Europe. There's no high there. Slowing economy. That's not really the best news for the Europeans today. Probably out of BBC. I thought it was interesting that Lula is taking over. I don't know whether he's actually declared victor. I noticed Fred got super excited in the lounge there today. So I guess he's kind of happy. We should all be speaking Portuguese right now, Fred, right? Anyway, I don't know where Fred is. But if I understand correctly, the moderate, I think, won down there in Brazil. So that's interesting. Of course, we've got this big U.S. midterm election coming up here. And then, of course, Jesus. I mean, what a coincidence, the whole Pelosi attack thing there, right? Isn't that incredible how, this world can't be a coincidence. Anyway. I guess did see that the Chinese stock market got really punched in the nose last week. I think Winnie the Pooh winning another term, and especially the way that he did it, just such a blatant, I don't even know the guy's name, but the other sort of communist guy over there who got totally shafted. But from what I understand, I mean, this China fund just can't even buy a friend here. And actually, this is probably the wrong chart to be looking at all this on. I'll leave that US dollar alone. I guess we can do it over here. So, we always say, China, 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 don't get China'd. Wow, look at that mess. Yeah, what a disaster. So, the whole Chinese dream, probably this whole idea that China is going to be the world's, it's going to take over the world economy and all that kind of stuff. I think that's going out with the throwing the baby out with the bathwater. And unfortunately, the irony of it all, though, is who can tell me what's the statistical probability that the market is going to be trading right back up at these levels at some point in the not too distant future? Boom. Somebody should be able to tell me what the odds are. So I don't know what the hell the prospects are going forward, but in the short term, oh boy, China and Asia just looks like an absolute train wreck. So I did see that sort of jumped out at me. They're talking quite a bit about how bad. What I did find interesting is I heard that Hong Kong is thinking about actually letting people trade crypto now, which is, I thought, a bit odd. So I wonder if CCPers are trying to back off a little bit and sort of bring some capital back. Thought this was an interesting headline. I was joking in the day trader room this morning. Shanghai Disney visitors unable to leave. Can you imagine being locked into Disneyland? That's kind of a weird thing, eh? Where is that like the definition of dystopia? There should be a movie made about that, right? And then like something like you're locked in Disneyland and Mickey Mouse is on a murder rampage. And it just kills 100, 200 people with rusty, dull knives. There's a movie for you. And it's Halloween too. Perfect. That would be a perfect story. So there's always that. Oh, goodness, crazy. Did see that, of course, over the weekend, the Ukrainians, I think they seem to have scored an interesting kind of, I don't even know what you call it, a little bit of a propaganda win. And if they're really lucky, they may have cost the Russians a lot of money. But they did like a drone attack on Sevastopol, which is sort of the main maritime base on the Crimea Peninsula. The ship that it's conjectured that the ship that replaced the Moskva as the flagship for the Russian fleet, I can't remember the name of the admiral something or other. It got hit by one of these sort of submarine drones that the Ukrainians have. So fascinating. And of course, the Russians, in response to that, they're very, very upset that they just lost another $1 billion asset, or probably hundreds of millions of dollars. They've gone and just shit on the Ukrainians. They're another massive airstrikes. And then also too, they sort of said, "Screw it, we're not honoring the Green Deal." So as a result, one thing that I did notice this morning, although it feels awfully suspicious, one thing I did notice was, actually I threw on this little micro contract. I kind of like this. I like this, like this movement right here. I strapped it on here because this was the big higher time frame double bottom. Remember I told you in like the broiler chicken show the other day, I was like, how the fuck am I going to put this trade on here from this platform? I mean, I'm not going to go take a $5,000 risk on this trade. But we had this double bottom and I said, well, and actually kind of looking at this chart, it's close. Probably the long levels there, but I just wanted to see. I saw this micro contract they have, and you can see. I think I'm down like I don't know, $100, $200 or something on this. Just buying this 225.45 level, and it's only $11. So that makes me feel a lot more enthusiastic about actually trading this thing. So that's a side, but just to explain what's on the screen. But what I noticed was right out of the gate, wheat prices just exploded higher. But the thing is I don't know, you tell me, does that look like the start of a new bull market? It looks like it's kind of old. It is interesting that this technically is our, from, I guess, actually just about here to right into here. This is what we call the supply-driven part of the market. And ironically now, here to here, this is actually where we get into what's called the demand-driven part of the market. So it is interesting how, is that the start of a base? I don't think so. So, I mean, it's a V bottom, and of course, they've left just an absolutely monstrous price gap there. Again, just like we were talking about China there a second ago. What is the statistical odds that we got to come down and fill that in some point in the future? So I don't know whether this is really start of a new bull market. It is interesting to see how there's still a price gap down there, and there might even be one right there, but maybe not. So I don't think I necessarily have any reason to get bullish here. But it might be the start of something. Yeah. So you can see the top came in, the market broke, if we were just doing our good old 50% rules. This is where the market really wants to be. And notice, look where the market is. I mean, isn't that incredible? I mean, God, seriously, people, this is what you got to learn being here. I don't, the irony of it all is that whole sort of Ukrainian things, and people they're gonna wake up and they're gonna, see the price growth. They're going 5%, holy shit! But really, that's exactly where price wants to be. That's kind of ironic, eh? I don't know. Maybe I see things and they jump out to me, but to me that there's nothing really significant about any of that right now. So I don't know. To me, this feels a little bit, and also too, I heard that the Ukrainians were going to do a deal with the Turks, and there's some other crazy country like the Bulgarians or something like that, to actually get the Ukrainian grain out of the Black Sea. So maybe that could be just a collective fuck you to Russia. So anyway, we'll see how that story develops, but I don't really see anything shocking there in the grain market. If anything, what's shocking to me, but it does make sense because it is a bit of a supply shock, is the corn market, of course, jumped up. It is bearish, but it's had this dead cat bounce up here. And I suppose anybody who's a big fan of David O's Head and Shoulders, and notice too, look how that's such a pretty little Head and Shoulders top right up in there. But regardless of the Head and Shoulders top, what I would be most interested in is how important this level here. What is that? 735 or about $7.50, eh? So market dumped down. We're going through dead cat bounce action here. We're really trapped in moving average sandwich right now. But I think the thing that bums me out the most is, and really I don't have a trade here. If anything, I like the idea that this is rolling over. But the problem is I've got this stupid spread trade on from this summer, which has totally fucked up my little paper trading account for you guys. It was supposed to be a nice little demonstration, but here is the spread trade, and I'm getting killed on it. So anyway, pseudo there. I had, I guess, where would it be? Somewhere up in here. This is the daily one. Yeah. So on this double bottom here, and maybe we did it at 5. I can't remember. We strapped on this long spread, and this basically was implying contango, and the market was going to be well supplied. Now, of course, Russia's gone and done all its thing, and now this actually looks like a bear ABCD. So backwardization is going to get worse here. Boo! His boo. Anyway, this is a July versus December, so the December contract's coming up here pretty soon. But the long and short of it here is I'm underwater by about, I guess, 8 or 9 ticks. And you can, you just see that is the damage in this little paper trading account. Aside from that trade, actually, basically scratch trading. But there's that funny little spread trade, eh? So I have to, of course, because this is December, I'm going to have to take this off fairly soon here. We definitely don't want to hold on to that till expiry. I'm a little disappointed that spread has gone against us. If anything, really good example of, these spreads, you can make them lose a bunch of money. This thing right now is, I think I remember we put it on at like plus 10 or something, somewhere up in that area. Just a really shitty trade, to be honest with you. If I had more demonstration, and now -3. So now we're underwater by 14 ticks. 14 ticks in Cornland is about $700. Anyway, so I think that's the thing that bums me out the most. I still actually like the idea of hunting a short setup. Probably corn has to come fill this in here, and wheat, same sort of thing. Probably a dead cat bounce up into even trendline resistance. I still like the idea of coming in on the short side, something up in that area. But could we see a bit more higher up here on this whole Russian kind of news? Yeah, I suppose that would make sense. But I also remember reading somewhere else, there's something else going on about food supply stuff that is going to affect grain prices. Can't remember what the other thing was. Sure, as soon as I hang up, I'll remember. Okay, so we got the Fed coming up day after tomorrow. If anything, what I was a little bit concerned about was you didn't really want to see the market rally too aggressively into that Fed event. But now it actually looks like risk is coming off a bit. So, oh, Jesus, there goes the stock market. It wants to bottom. Look at that damn stock market. It's so firm. We should probably see crypto firm up here a bit then, too. Interesting how crude, not really very overly happy. Gold market, not happy at all. And actually, that's an interesting commentary because, in our commodity trend survey a couple weeks ago, when I did the metals markets, I had seen that the copper market was flashing this bearish bot. That's a very bearish chart setup. Boom, 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 boom. And I was wondering how this was going to act through here. And all of a sudden, lo and behold, look what just fired here today. So daily chart, bang, bang, bang. This high just slightly higher than this high. Just literally by 20 ticks. But still, that's an empire. Right off the bot level. So I thought that was interesting. And what was sort of holding up the market? I noticed that palladium was really abnormally strong here. I mean, this is crazy. Palladium, when Doofus did his thing over there last year, they took palladium prices to $3,200 an ounce. I remember when palladium used to trade in the hundreds, and it always underperformed. It was like half the price of platinum. And now that's the exact opposite. How bizarre, eh? But I had mentioned that, gee whiz, this looks like very bearish body well in that weekly commodity trend survey. So ideally we want no more than 66, but no less than 33. And then we place that over top of there. And then just sort of guesstimate. There is bot fail levels. I don't know whether you could actually take that. Like I said, the copper one just looks great. But what's fascinating about this is you can really see it in the stock market with our little darlings. We had about 3 or 4 of these lithium. Again, rare earth, think palladium, lithium. It's basically under the same category. And they're just getting, the lithium stocks just look so top heavy. It's ridiculous. Where the hell are they? Too many stocks on this list. I like to follow everything. Actually, interesting. The copper stocks are up a little bit. Not much, penny. I don't know what I did with those stupid lithium stocks. Anyway, there's a bunch of them. I know the big one that we follow, LAC. Right, and you got that big honking M staring you in the face, and then you also have this little M here. So I think actually, believe it or not, this was one of the better looking of the. We had 3 of them on the list, and I was following, but of course I always go zipping right by them whenever I'm looking for this. There's the other metals names. Might be interesting to look at them. I was hearing an interview with the Agnico Eagle CEO, and he was not very happy. They have some great mine production. Don't get me wrong. The numbers coming out of the mines are great, but the cost of production is just going up, 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 up for those guys. I can't find it. Fudge. Anyway, somewhere in all this, I had my lithium stocks. That's actually an old lithium name. Alpha Lithium. He's kind of just going sideways, but I could see him break down. I think this guy's going to be bought out. Oh, here we are. Here they are right here. Okay, so there's that LAC. So they're the same kind of thing as the palladium and copper charts. ALB, there's a little bit better looking, but nonetheless looks like a bit of a head and shoulders top. And the SQM, that looks like a wicked rolling top. Look at that beautiful M up top there. And actually, you know what? One thing I noticed that I was really surprised at was, I don't know whether this Tesla is going to roll over here or not. I think it is. But what really surprised me was I was watching my beloved Buffalo Bills yesterday. And General Motors, of course, is a big sponsor of the National Football League. Yeah, what a surprise, eh? But General Motors, I heard like, God, I couldn't believe how many times I heard it. And I don't know how, I think it was Chevrolet. How do you spell Chevrolet? I don't think you spell it like that. Maybe that is how you spell it. Is that how you spell Chevrolet? Anyway, what I heard through the whole damn broadcast was EVs. Chevrolet. Oh, I can't do it. Darn. Anyway, I was gonna make the EV yellow. That's how they had it on the broadcast last night, and it was just over and over and over. Chevrolet. All right, well, this sounds close. But you just heard them constantly. I mean, I must have heard it like 10 times. Of course, I love my Buffalo Bills. But they just kept punching that EV. Interesting looking chart there on Chevrolet, eh? Or General Motors. Fascinating. So I get the distinct impression that Tesla's days of them being a monopoly in this space, I think those days are over. I think there are a lot of companies that are either coming into the hybrid or outright EV market. And frankly speaking, to be perfectly honest with you, I would not be surprised if you actually heard somebody write this down. This is going to be Brian's grand prediction. I would not be surprised if you actually found out that somebody came along like a Ford or a Mitsubishi or a Honda or Toyota, maybe even one of the German auto manufacturers, and just buys these guys out. Some big, horrendous merger. Wouldn't surprise me one bit. And the Tesla name brand just gets enveloped into one of these massive conglomerates. So keep your eyes out for that. I have a funny feeling that's what's coming down the road here. Anyway. Did I see anything else sort of newsworthy here today? Of course, now Elon has moved on to Twitter. So I think, your weekend rally in Dogecoin was directly attributable to this deal. So if you made money on Doge, congratulations. It was pretty hard. Actually, one thing that was super cool, and I was so pleased to see this. It turns out that Sjord now likes, where the hell where's the screen? It's over here. Weekly commodity trend survey. Dun, dun, dun. Another crypto has joined the buy camp. Who is he? Matic. Oh, it was super cool when I saw that. Of course, I've been slightly bullish of this name of late. So, wow, nice chart, nice cross. If you can get a nice little pop-up through the top here, that's a beautiful ABCD. Up we go. So that was super cool. I was super pleased to see that. And if anything, the way that I would recommend you use this, although I don't know whether Sjord has you guys have access to it yet or not. Actually, I'm not even quite sure what happens when you go, because I don't think you have access to this page. I was just putting this page together on my own. And of course, I'd like Sjord to include this into the dashboard subscription. I think it's value added. I think you guys have this right now. So that's this. So if we go crypto top 30, it spits out this. Okay, so you can still get it from this side. So that's not so bad. But that's a good sign, and what we should see is over time, slowly but surely, we're going to start seeing more and more sixes pop up here. I got a funny feeling they're going to rally this market into year end. And if anything, the fact that the stock market is actually, I mentioned this just briefly a few minutes ago, but it looked like they were trying to bottom it. But if anything, you kind of want the stock market, especially all you people that are playing the market of stocks, like all these kind of things. Interesting how still no fill on Hut, still no fill on Marathon. Look at that. It's not even close to the damn W. Still no fill on this amplify. So I'm just sitting here waiting. It drives you crazy. And Novograd's sitting there just underwater, just sitting right at the double bottom level that I should have been had my order working at, but oh well. Hindsight's 2020. Anyway, so I do find that interesting that none of this stuff is getting filled. I do like trying to go and buy this double bottom. I mentioned yesterday that it was just way too expensive to like just go and buy one Bitcoin or to buy well, anything in that regard. I mean, if you could buy a fraction, but I like to show you guys my actual trades on this platform. So now I'm super excited that, yeah, we're going to basically follow this little, we'll follow the little micro Bitcoins here and just show you all the trade setups and what's the result right now. I'm underwater by $11. Woohoo, way to go. But anyway, the point being, and actually, if I can get comfortable at this, I might incorporate this into the AMP trading platform because I'm super stoked. I didn't know whether this was even available or not. But, and I was sort of alluding to this earlier, you know, I got to say, I mean, look where that damn 200 period moving average is. It's all the way up there at, what's that, 29 fucking grand. So, you know, they did pull this FU. So because of that FU, I actually think the buy level is really that point there. So me coming in off of there, it's probably not the smartest. I might, because this is such a small number, I might actually even buy another one off of that level and then risk the whole amount. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Right now, I did strap this one on, so we'll just see how this goes. We'll risk against a break of that tail. And so that means 2 to 1. We probably want to be thinking about that level up in there. So notice that the 200 period moving average is still way up there. So again, sort of all you level oneers, this is another example. I don't think this is a really textbook W. If anything, all you level oneers who are watching this, use this as a really good demonstration. I'm going to journal a clothesline W trade. And so there, this clothesline level says, what does that say? 20,285. So if you wanted to write that up and put your order in at 20,000, we'll even go, we'll say wick, and then we'll go 20,285 clothesline. And I even think I'm even going to say valid, and I don't think that this is a valid W. If anything, this is what we call a dirty bottom. And I'm sure that conjures some wonderful mental images. So I say dirty bottom because this low is actually lower than these lows. But if you go off of clotheslines, and you're like, I'm a clothesline trader. I don't screw with those stupid day trader kids. They're a waste of time. I just want to know what the close was. Well, you can go 286, 285. Perfectly fine. I think this is actually a very good example of sort of like institutions. Institutions would trade off of clotheslines. And I think that's a pretty valid W. There's also, you can see there is the killer trade level. No doubt about it. So anyway. For the purposes of illustration, I wanted to see if this thing would work. So let's live by the sword, die by the sword. I'll take my lumps from these levels. Could you work open orders, all you level oneers? If anything, good assignment for you. You can clearly, this is the micro contract, so nice and cheap. As you can see, the point value is minimal. So you can really, you know, sharpen your skill set as a setup hunter. You want to throw your open order in on, say, well, I'm going to buy this W and risk this entire range. You can even see there's a bit of a price gap there. So if we do puke out on the other side of the Fed, I could very easily see them bring the market right down into that price gap. No problem whatsoever. Candle body lows for trade location. But, you know, what I would like you level oneers, and really, you know, maybe you're in the middle of level 2 and you're still filling out your 100 paper trades because you really don't know what the fuck you're still doing yet. which is perfectly fine. Don't get me wrong, man. 30 bloody years into this game, and I still don't know whether I really understand what the fuck's going on. So if it takes a while to get good at this, take your time. There's no hurry. Anyway, point of the matter here is I think there's a number of different approaches you could use to just simply paper trade this W bottom. And, I will go in fact, actually in the journal, asked Stuart just to clean up the journal. It's a little bit sloppy for me. Looks like this is reporting nicely. But I don't know what it is when you pull up this one thing gets all screwy like that. But anyway, it's no big deal. Anyway, today's report, I just mentioned that it looks like there's a bullish buy within a bullish buy setting up on the crude oil. So I'm going to be watching this very closely. Going very slow on my my day trading of crude and stock market and anything really of late, since my performance was kind of shitty of late. So put myself in the penalty box. This thing has to look absolutely pristine, or else I'm not taking the trade. Just simple as that. So I might even go in after we're done this and even do a little bit of a write-up on this higher time frame setup that I am now in on the Bitcoin. And I was able to find a contract where I can throw this on. You can even see the trade's going against me. That's $14. Big fucking deal. Okay, so there's an update on that. I guess what I was sort of trying to allude to, it's taken me forever to get around to this, is that I actually think you don't want to see the stock market just going booming up into that Fed event. That's not a good sign. And we were getting that. This silly stock market looked like it was just run one direction. If anything, it's probably good. Now, we're only down 100 points, so it's not really much of a move. But there is that crazy-ass buy signal that we got on the Dow there a week or two ago, right? And all you level oneers, I would fully expect if I asked each and every one of you, can you show me your trade log? I told you guys explicitly that I wanted you to paper trade this. So I hope that you are logging and journaling and learning from this. There's nothing really to do there right now. If anything, this is carving out a nice inside bar, which kind of makes sense, right? If anything, you'd almost want the market to pull back here a little bit. And then when the Fed comes out with their news, then we can turn around and resolve bullishly, right? And continue on the march higher, which I think is still on the table. The only question is, of course, we got this big political event down in the States coming up. So we'll do, I guess we'll go yellow. That's FOMC. And then we have the election. Boom. So you can see there's a lot of unknowns that are right around this window. If anything, what I would even say is, since this trade is done so well, and if you did go into it, awesome. I like the idea that if a trade does go this well, we're still not at the target yet, but if a trade goes this well, I think you don't really want to see this turn into a losing trade. So at the very least, as you can see here, at 50% of the anticipated move, I like to move the stop to scratch. If it does pull back here, you're going to be like, shitty, man, I should have taken some profits. But, you're going to kind of try and learn as a trader's life. A lot of times, Johnny Hoagland, he used to always say this, that really this is the job where you're paid to be uncomfortable. And that's exactly what this would be. I'm up a ton of money. I might see the market come back, but at the very least, I don't think you want to see this turn into a losing trade. So probably I did this before. But just to reiterate, you can't really see why I want that as a profit objective. If I leave this stop, move the stop to scratch, you just don't see it. It gets all screwed up. But I think at the very least, you just move your stop to scratch on this. So if anything, it's not a bad sign to actually see some red on the screen here today and tomorrow. And then coming out the other side, you would like to, what I would like to see, of course, I think we go something like that, like that, like that, like that, like that, maybe even like that, and then we start to move higher. Unfortunately, that didn't work at all. Let's try that again. So like that, like that, like that, like that, like that, like that, and then maybe a move up there. So that's kind of what I'm thinking is going to happen. I suppose if you start getting actual Emmys here and you start getting chicken shit, you could always move your stop up. But I think honestly, the best thing to do here is just to live with the results. Why? Because we have so much anecdotal evidence that's saying that the market wants to rally into the end of the year here. Like I said, I think the absolute worst is that you just move your stop to scratch. Where is my buddy Josh and his wonderfulness? Darn. Oh well. Do I have it? Nope, I don't. All right. Anyway, I think we have it right here. There it is. You've seen this 100 times, so it shouldn't surprise anyone. I think we're sort of right in this event right here. As I said, I don't think it's a good idea to actually see the market be too bullish into the Fed. If anything, you probably, I guess we're still October 31st, right? So today is Halloween, boo. So we are right here. And I do think that we go sideways for a little bit. I think there's a head fake to the downside, but then I think we charge up and make new highs into the end of the year. So anyway, it'll be interesting to see what happens. Ironically enough, the one market that surprised me was Ethereum. Remember, we looked at those options. And man, they sure tried to. Oh, look at that. The market's still up. Son of a bitch. That's funny. They tried so fucking hard to get this thing back above that 1800 number, eh? So where did we say? Actually, I think I have it written up on a different one here. No? Oh, okay. I thought I did. This should be 4 hour, and then we'll go. Oh, this is the daily. That's fine. So there was that 1800 number. It'd be interesting to see if they actually started to cover off the position. There it is. They tried like the dickens, and the day's not done yet. Who knows what I don't think it can jump that much. I think they are officially on the hook here. And actually, this is an interesting thing. Like, notice November, right? Then you go to the options, and then you still see November, but oh, hello, October's still there. Isn't that kind of weird how they did that? Anyway, then we'll go the heaviest open interest. So 1500s are the heaviest on the puts. Isn't that interesting? Oh, wait a minute. Maybe we have to do all. There we go. Oh, yeah. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so 1800s, that's definitely, they're on the hook there. And then the big one, the $2,000 calls, well, that's all free money for them. So way to go, Wall Street. They totally killed it on that. Could this 2,000, 1,800 actually have been a bit of a spread trade? I don't know. But I will say they are going to get exercised on these sons of guns. So Wall Street's going to be buying. There's no doubt about it. If anything, that's probably a very bullish message of Ethereum. And I think, do we figure out where the average is for them? So 1800s. And we figured that they did the deal right here, eh? So if this is just an isolated trade on its own, $355. So if you wrote the 1800 put, actually, this would be a good trivia question for you guys. If you wrote the 1800 put and you collected, which it looks like, right, 2,000 contracts, bang, right there on that date right there. If you collected 350, we'll do it difficult. 300, what's this number? Specifically, this number is 355.50. I mean, that's all it traded at that day. So that's what the deal was done at. And you get exercised on this trade. What is your average cost for your ETH? That's an interesting question. See if any of you can figure that out. You are paper trading that BB. Yeah, the Bitcoin trade. Yeah, I strapped that. I was gonna go and buy it, but then I went, holy shit, you got to buy one full contract. You know, the minimum you can buy on this paper trading thing here is one full Bitcoin, like on Stamp. You can't buy a fraction, which is kind of weird. So I was like, okay, well, how the fuck am I gonna do this then? Because you can't buy one Bitcoin. If it breaks there, that's like $5,000 loss, right? I'm not going to risk that kind of money on this account. Too much. So I had to figure out a workaround, and my workaround is the little micro contract right there. So yep, I'm in like fleeing. Very good demonstration. If the bottom holds, great, wonderful. If we rally up into this area, which I think we're going to do, and also notice this, oh, what a surprise. Look at that big freaking gap just sitting there. Top of value, then boom, another good demonstration for you guys. Okay, where was I? ETH options. So Joe, now that I answered that question for you, tell me, what is your average cost if you wrote this 1,800 put and you collected $355.50 and you were exercised on the right? What is your average cost for your ETH now? Keep in mind, it's expiring tomorrow. All right, so I think it's expiring today. You better know. Should we get Sjord's buddy from Cryptoland to come in and help answer this question? Maybe we'll get him to take the course. Speaking of which, Zach and I have to get together this afternoon and talk course material. Oh my God. You guys have me so busy this term. It's remarkable. Marat's got me working. Zach's got me working. Julian and Graham. Oh my goodness. All of you guys. Okay, so who can answer the question? Can anybody answer the question? What the hell's the question? Question is, if I wrote this $1,800 put on, what date is that? September 14th. Now you can see 2,151. Bang. And I collected $355.50 in premium. What is my average cost for ETH if I am exercised, which I'm going to be? No one? Nobody? Megan, you're in the level 3 class. $1,445. You're the show director. You're not supposed to answer. It's just kidding. It's $1,800, which is the strike price minus the premium you collected, right? We said the premium you collected was $355.50. So minus 355.5. So your cost is $1,444.50. So if you did get delivered the ETH, which of course you don't, this is cash settled. But if you basically went and bought a similar market price for Ethereum, if that's your cost there, 14, then let's assume you did get actually delivered the Ethereums, and your cost is $1,444.50, and you just went into the marketplace and you said, hit that bid. Where's how do you do? 1564. Are you ahead or are you behind? So in a weird sort of way, this is why it's super important for you to, if you're going to look at this data, right? And you see this 1800. First and foremost, what you got to appreciate is these guys don't want to get filled on these options contracts. That's a lot of contracts. That's a lot of money. I mean, they would prefer just to pocket the money and just call it a day, right? And it's hookers and blow on them. It's interesting right now, like we said, the difference between your cost basis, 1445.50, and the current market price, 1533, they're going to be sent a debit in this case for that 1444.50 number, but then they can just go and sell it in the marketplace, 1533.86, and boom, they've offset that liability, and they've pocketed the difference, right? I mean, technically they are long from 1445.50, and they'll go and sell that position at 1533. So they do all right in the end. So I know that there were a few people who were asking. There's somebody even in the Broiler Chicken show yesterday who was asking, well, how do you reckon what the hell's going on here with these options? And I think this is where it's important that we have to acknowledge the fact that these guys are going to buy a lot of Ethereum. Now, remember, it's cash settled, so it's not really like real Ethereum. But they are going to be long. They are going to exercise. I think that's an important point to make. But it's super important for you to go through and try and figure out what their average right price was. And in this case, it's actually really easy to figure out because we know what the open interest is. It's that 2,000. And you can see volume open interest, nothing, boom, 2,000. Well, obviously, that's the day the deal was done right there. So hopefully that helps you appreciate what's going on in that options market a little bit better. That's a tough one, though. Having said that, I think Wall Street wins here. Okay, I sort of talked this market into the ground. That is past 11 o'clock. So I think I'll probably leave it at that for now. We're not going to really see the major fireworks. In fact, we could probably even do the same thing here. We're not going to see the major fireworks in this market till number one, once the Fed is done, and we put them in yellow. And then number two, probably more importantly, what the hell our course of the next 2 or 3 years down in the United States is going to look like, what that election results are. So we have a bit of a phony banani window coming up here. I also told you too, probably the market to keep your eye on, especially with those comments about high-grade copper. What do you think? Is that gold market pointing lower? Remember, we showed you the bearish bot in the copper market, the bearish bot in the palladium market now. Platinum can't get out of its own way anyway, $900 an ounce. I suppose it's got a bit of a bottom marking. Silver's up a penny, but oh boy, flirting with disaster here. Let's see, I'll do a trivia question. Who's the internationally known trader that is probably going to be active in this gold market come election night? Chris, if you know the answer, you're only allowed to put his initials. Hey, there we go. Somebody has been paying attention. So I guess that would be S. And what's his second initial? And thank you for placating me, Nick. So somebody's actually listening to me and my nonsense. So, based on the way that copper market looks, I don't see any reason why this thing can't point down into these levels. If we get some sort of insane result election night, and we rally up into these levels, I kind of like what I pointed out here. I think if you are adventurous and, maybe you're just at the point in your career where you're just practicing and you don't believe this shit, maybe just paper trade this, right? Maybe even just put open orders. And actually, maybe then why don't we even do that? We will go settings, and we will go trading, and let's put all these Well, that should work. I don't really want to do that though, but let's, for fun, we will. This will be an interesting experiment. Let's go create new orders, and we're going to place a buy order down here at 88.6, so 1521. Yeah, what the hell? That works, something like that. This should be a GTC. So limit, that's fine. Doesn't say time in force week. I guess we'll go for the month. Yeah, well, we'll keep an eye on this. It's about, what, a week and a half. So, okay, so we'll place that guy there. And then at the same time, let's place, we'll place a create new order, 2032. Sell 2032. So we'll see what the hell happens there. All right, so for our demonstration purposes, we've got the gold limits working, and this will be our fun election night frivolity. We'll call this the Druckenmiller trade. I don't know if that's how you spell his name. Probably not. Druckenmiller. Drucken. Rosen. Who knows what movie that's from? Rosen. Hello, I'm Dr. Rosen. Rosen. Does anybody remember that movie? God, you got to be old like me to know that movie. Anyway, I'll leave it at that. So let's see what happens. Druckenmiller. Oh, so I missed the C. And it's a Miller. Oh, yeah. Okay, well, that was fun. Maybe we can have Stuart come on again tomorrow. What the hell? We never did get an update on flow traders. So I'll leave that on there. So I thought it was just interesting that the high-grade copper trade technically is still working. In fact, really, I wouldn't even have a problem whatsoever strapping this on. It's just I hate the fucking risk on these goddamn futures, the big boys. And this is what, when I was a prop trader, it used to give me like literally heartburn, the amount of stress that I would have to endure. But I sure love that trade. Oh my goodness, that is so perfect. So let's see if we can sneak in here and do this as a demo for you too. So we'll go create an order, short. We'll go off of the Empire. It's nice and simple. So 341.60. So we'll go 41.60. Selling on a stop. All right. So that's working. So I'll let you guys know if we do anything there. And really, this is actually speaking to that whole weekly commodity trend survey. Really didn't like the look of those metals markets. They look dangerous. Okay, I've kind of blabbed away here for a while. Hope you guys feel like you got some value out of all this. Looks like Alter looking rather green. So that's encouraging. Our little ones that we bought recently, sushi, man, this sushi's just been rocking it. I think I showed you the Matic actually is spitting up a, look at that, weekly buy signal. Son of a bitch. So if I get any kind of bullish setup here, that is a huge buy. So, geez, onward and upward. I think I still want to buy some more of this Vader down here. I remember Colin, his crew, they were all super excited about this thing. So you can see it's basically worth nothing now. So I think I actually went and bought some here. Boo, he says boo. May the 4th be with you. Do you remember all that shit? So if you were trading it, oh boy, you better get the hell out. But I do like the idea of going and picking up a bit more of this down here. Is it bottomed yet? Anyway, No, I'm just babbling. No, no bottom yet. Oh. Kind of like Sjord's idea. I see a lot of coins that still look kind of like this. Ideally, of course, we want to see higher highs and higher lows. Okay, gang. I think I'm going to try and stop talking now. PMA for the win. Zach, if you're watching, I'll see you in about, I guess, 2 or 3 hours. Got lots of meetings planned for tomorrow. Murad, I'll see you tomorrow. Graham, maybe I can hook up with you later on in the week if you're watching this. And Rush, I will see you tomorrow morning too, won't I? I don't know. Did you confirm that meeting time? Are you okay with that? All right, cool. Okay, let's leave it at that. Chris, if you could take us out of here, I'd love you dearly for it. PMA for the win. Slow and steady wins the race. Remember the context around the market state right now. We got Fed and election coming up in the next week. So probably not really the best time to go and throw on huge, big bets here. Go slow. PMA for the win. Slow and steady wins the race. Remember what your number one job is. And the only thing left for Brian says, bye for now.